Our top story for this half hour, the UN Special Envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, says the Geneva peace talks are, quote, a real moment to bring peace to Syria. He has, however, warned against the so-called Plan B, or military intervention, as the worst alternative. Briefing the media ahead of the talks, de Mistura rejected any preconditions, saying the agenda has already been set based on the Geneva Communiqué. He said the warring sides remain divided on a number of issues, including the political transition, which he called the mother of all issues. The UN diplomat said that the meeting will proceed with, quote, a technique of proximity. The negotiations are the first since a partial and fragile ceasefire went into force late last month. However, disagreements over the agenda cast a shadow over the negotiations. The Saudi-backed opposition has demanded to discuss a political transition without President Bashar al-Assad, but Damascus says preconditions contradict the fundamentals of the talks. Author and Middle East expert Saeb Shaath joins us now from Belfast to offer us more insight on that story. Mr. Shaath, first of all, give us your thoughts on the recent comments made in the media briefing by Staffan de Mistura.
There is two comments got my attention yesterday. De Mistura's comments and Allouche is the chief negotiators for Riyadh, what they call it, delegates of the Syrian armed militants and opposition in there. De Mistura, first of all, mentioned the negotiation. They're gonna push for the results of it. They want to achieve to form a united government who can then put a new constitution, and after that they go for the third phase, which is to start an election under the United Nations supervision. This is to be parliamentarian and a presidential election. But we notice as well from this talk, lots of the Syrian, even in the opposition, using the idea which the Americans floating about in their what they call Plan B, as Kerry said, is the federalization of Syria. This is a part, without going any deeper, what the surprising bit to me yesterday from Mohammed Allouche, who was supposed to be the head of the Islamic Army, who took the position as a leader, and from his brother Allouche before, who was killed in the battle in Syria. This guy is the main man for Riyadh in there. And he said before they're going to go ahead in any transitional period, they want to see the back of President Assad, or if he's not going to leave, to be killed, assassinated, as he put it. This is very, kind of a dangerous talk to see Geneva open its doors to somebody who declared on the open they're going to assassinate President Assad. And that is he's repeating in a different way what the Saudis used to say on Adel Jubeir, the foreign minister of Saudi Arabia, and before him even al-Faisal. He said it's inevitable Assad have to leave, and using political or military means. But today, these kind of threats which the Saudis use in the name of their representative, Mohammed Allouche, who's 100%, as I said, by Riyadh. They are all Riyadh boys in there mainly. They from the opposition, I mean, in here. They throw the threats of murdering and killing, assassinating. This is, to me, he won't say something like that without the green light from the United States of America and the Saudis as well. They are frustrated. They are trying to confuse the issues at the minute. They just trying to find some sort of front kind of compromise for them to don't start talk like that. At least the Russian and the Syrian side will throw a bone for you, keep you busy for it. So they try to gain. This is a psychological warfare I see before the talks starts.
Dr. Shaath, another issue that was also mentioned by Staffan de Mistura was the issue of the so-called Plan B. He emphasized that there is no Plan B, anything other than the fruition of these negotiations or a diplomatic solution will result in a war far worse than the one that's already ongoing in Syria.
Yeah, Plan B, which is already mentioned in here, it's the federalization of Syria, which is the United States of America is a kind of floating it about as they say there is an agreement or a hidden agreement as well with the Russians. The Russians didn't mind federalization because they thought it's the only door which will allow them or can bring the others to accept the Kurds to join the talks in Geneva. And there is no worry in Syria from federalization, since Syria is not the strong and sort of united country now, which they're going to be weakened. It's going to be weakened or divided by federalization of project, as what happened in Iraq when Iraq was a united country, and suddenly after the invasion they imposed a constitution with the federalization in Iraq, which is nearly dismantling Iraq. This is the take from the Russians. But the Syrians and most of the Arabs, Syrian people, even from the oppositions, they reject that kind of thing. They think it is a step toward kind of weakening Syria in the future. But the Syrian regime itself were not, or the government allow something like that to happen. Indeed. Because they still the force and they still in control of a huge support from the people, and the people of Syria want to preserve Syria as united.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saeb Shaath, author and Middle East affairs expert, joining us from Belfast.